Hello and welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you're not. This is my podcast on sustainability crisis, and I'm your host Sandeep Iranti. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you like engineering. For me personally, engineering is actually true magic. It can entirely transform our way of living and our way of taking things for granted. Everything around us in modern life has been carefully engineered to make our lives easy and comfortable. And in the process of doing so, we have overlooked some of the aspects of being sensible with the amount of resources we have been consuming on the way. And that very behavior of ours is what actually brought upon ourselves the climate catastrophe, what we are experiencing now. And geoengineering is an umbrella term for deliberate large scale manipulation of an environmental process that affects the Earth's climate in an attempt to counteract the effects of global warming. There are actually multiple ways of doing this large scale cooling, but the most prominent one is solar radiation management. And one of the ways proposed to do it is called marine cloud brightening. And to put it in simple terms, it is essentially creating denser clouds using seawater so that more sunlight is reflected back into space and less heat is trapped in the environment. And if you want to know more, you can search online to get more in depth knowledge. So basically, the intention is to create a way to hack the planet to lessen the effects of global warming. But somehow, geoengineering seems to be counterintuitive thing to be suggesting. Why do we want to experiment even more with the climate than we are already doing it right now? As humans, we have the ability to modify something as large and as complex as Earth's climate. With global warming, we are already starting to see enormous changes in weather and climate everywhere, not just limited to specific area. And with geoengineering, the proposal is to make these kind of huge scale changes intentionally. And we need to keep in mind that if we do approach geoengineering with this mindset, we are implying that the earth is just another thing that humans have the right to dominate. We should not geoengineer because nature is complicated and it's powerful, and we have messed it up already enough. Dealing with geoengineering is not worth the unpredictable and uncontrollable collapse it would cause. This is exactly like a math equation. We know that the problem is climate change, and we think that the solution is geoengineering. But there is a catch. In order to execute this, we need to formulate an equation with no variables, which is impossible to do so. Because environment is complex, and we will never be able to find out all the variables that we need to input into the formula. Having said that, climate change is a powerful force, and we may need to prepare ourselves for the worst to come. But science is all about reducing variables in the equation, but the issue is we do not know how many variables that exist. If we do want to go down this path of geoengineering, then it may only be used if it is absolutely necessary. But who decides if it is necessary or not in the world where climate change is still considered as a myth? And what is more disturbing is when these climate skeptics are the ones who are actually investing in geoengineering. This shows their intentions to dominate the world. Even if climate change will bring massive destruction, nature will correct it by itself. What we need to do is stop emitting greenhouse gases right now and try to restore the ecology and wait for the earth to heal by itself. Even though we are capable of altering the climate, we are definitely not capable of stopping it to have a cascade failure because of geoengineering. Our desperation is not to save the planet's ecology, but to save ourselves. And this desperate behavior is the biggest threat to our existence because we are a part of the earth. We do not exist all by ourselves. Geoengineering is like trying to convert a sinking ship into a submarine. So, which property is more common than air? And what right is more fundamental than breathing free? So let's preserve this nature, let's preserve this earth and stay on the path with Paris Agreement. Not deviate back to our dependencies on fossil fuels. And I believe we are capable of creating a planet where geoengineering need not to be our only hope. And that brings us to the end of another podcast. Please do share your comments via email or direct message. I am also open for dialogue if you may be interested in. And as always, think innovative, think sustainable. And if you have been listening, thank you so much for tuning in.